and good evening. This is Dr. Andrea Adams Miller. Oh, I'm at my girlfriend's house, and you're seeing part of her living room behind my fake living room. But that's because it's a beautiful sunny day here in Ohio. It's so beautiful, and so it's so exciting that we have finally have lovely weather after still having sleet and snow only 2 weeks ago. So, what a great day to be a bee and to be social, right? Bees.social. We want to thank our sponsor, bees.social, Social TV. Again, I'm Dr. Andrea Adams Miller. My co-host is Ellen Harris, who hopefully will be able to join us tonight. And our sponsors are bees.social, Social TV, as I mentioned, the Red Carpet Connection, and business-accelerated.com. And tonight we're going to have Melanie Anderson join us. She's a community manager for bees.social, and we're going to do part two. We were talking more about our DAO and how that's working and what's happening and how you can get involved, and just kind of going through our white paper. So we're having just an open discussion, talking about it, what it means, our opinions, our beliefs, our ideas. Again, remember, everything we share is not financial advice. It's just our opinions, our love, and we're sharing it with you so that you can form your own opinions and make your own decisions when it comes to cryptocurrency and your financial literacy in the world. So that's what we are providing for all of you. So if we could have our lovely Rickster, bring Melanie in, we'll go ahead and get started with her. And while I'm doing that, Melanie always enjoys fun things that I share. So Melanie, you would probably love this. I was in New York this weekend and saw Harmony. Harmony was written by Barry Manilow and his partner and a business partner, and they made this beautiful show over 25 years ago. They started working on it, and the story is amazing about these gentlemen who were at one point even more popular than like the Beatles. And yet, here in the United States, we never knew about them because the war happened with Hitler. And Hitler at first kept it quiet. Half of the people were Jews and allowed them to go all over and be ambassadors for Germany. And then eventually, they had to part ways. The three Jewish people left and ran away and hid so that they could, protect themselves. And the band or the group, they were called the Comedian Harmonists, never saw each other again. Well, Barry Manilow and his partners found out about this story, brought it back to life, and shared it with the world. Because what happened is when they were destroyed and taken down, Hitler wanted nobody to have any access of theirs. So it would be as if everything disappeared in the world. You were punished if you found out you had copies of their movies, their albums, their books, anything. So can you imagine now in the world with our digital world if somebody tried to do that?
No, I can't. And that's what's so beautiful about the Web3 space is that we will have ownership of any content, that we create and upload and put out there, like, totally different than the Web1, Web2 space. And I'm a huge, huge Barry Manilow fan. I grew up around that on Saturdays when it was cleaning the house. My mother would put on the album, the vinyl records, and I'm a huge fan. I know all the words. And when you had mentioned this the other day, I had not heard of that this Harmony, and so I'm really excited to check it out. And I love that you brought it up again because it was a great reminder.
It was fantastic. We got to see some of the members beforehand because we had gone early to loiter and hang out. My girlfriend is a huge Barry Manilow, and
Yes.
and she has seen him over. I believe it's over 275 times. She just says over 200. I think they lost count. And I took the seat or the place of the third best friend. Those two were the Barry Manilow Fanilows. And what a beautiful opportunity. And it just really brought to light what's been happening and what bees.social is part of in some other ways as well, because bees.social works with the Goats DAO and Starwire.io, which is in a relationship with still working 9 to 5. So I mentioned that, and you might say, what does the Nazis in Germany have anything to do with what this is about? But the show, Harmony, brings up a lot of things that are happening in the world right now. How ironic and iconic that it talks about war that there's a woman who stands up and she's really fighting for the fact that she's Jewish and she's taking a stand and she's this woman. So it's almost like reminds you of the Me Too and Roe versus Wade, how people are, trying to be, revolutionary and being heard and recognized. And then with us in this, web space, trying to take control of our own assets and be independent. And then, so still working 9 to 5, talks about the Me Too movement, talks about how women and men are treated differently. Right now, there's a Don't Say Gay thing going on as well. Like, so there's one character in the show who plays one of the assistant Führer, so to speak. That's how it would be translated in the English, so to speak. And he, in his bio, talks about his loving family and loving his partner, Will, and how much he loves him. And we were talking about how can you imagine how challenging that would be to play a part of a Nazi? And one of his lines is I'm responsible for the homosexuals and the abortionists, to take them and to kill them.
Yikes. This is the way they call it acting. Yeah, that would be tough. That would be tough.
That would be tough. Yeah. So it just makes me very excited because, here we are doing all of these wonderful things with bees.social and the new projects that were coming in, where people can make a stand and make a decision about what's important to them on their own, and give them really more sense of independence and democracy at the same time, so they can gather with the people that matter most to them and make decisions. And bees.social, we right now, we're not talking politics per se, although everything we talk about or do when it comes to money and making decisions and being independent can be political, depending on how you spin it. We're choosing to be more about humanity and loving on people. So we do have different projects that we've supported in the past, from animals to missionary trips to people who are artists and in the music industry, and much more. And then the Wings of Wisdom, which we haven't officially announced, but there is a group with women helping other women who need a hand up. So it's quite beautiful. Is there anything else happening, or other groups that I don't know about yet that you want to mention?
Well, tonight, in just a few hours, we start our 24/7 Twitter Spaces. And if anybody has or has not participated in that before, basically what it is we've got, gosh, there must be over 20, maybe close to 30 of us coming together to basically take over a Twitter space. It's crypto_swarm, and 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, until our goal is a minimum 30 days, but the goal is actually to never end it. And so we have an entire team of 3+ people per every hour that will be operating that and co-hosting, bringing on speakers, and creating conversation around innovation, education, collaboration, and community. So we're not stopping, and this is going to be a huge, huge event. So we invite everybody to join us over at on Twitter Spaces at crypto_swarm, starting at about 9 p.m. tonight Eastern.
That sounds absolutely lovely. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Amazing, wild, chaotic, like all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah, when we talk about we're the misfits that want to change the world, that's just kind of a small example of the things that we're willing to do in effort to get the message out.
Absolutely. It's very exciting. Can you give some people some ideas of what they're open to talk about when they're on the Twitter Spaces?
Absolutely. So we do a lot in regards to collaboration is really the big part, and kind of the why behind what we're doing. Under our DAO and with the socialbees.io, we're really creating a community management service. And so we want to really hear about projects. We want to get the word out, let everybody know that we're here to collaborate, to provide a service for you so that artists and developers could stay in their zone, like stay where they are at their highest skill set, and let us manage your communities. Because I believe that one of the reasons a lot of projects fail is because of the communication and the lack of community that's involved to really rally around the project. And so what we're here to do under our SBU DAO is to take on that role as a community management service. And then, so those will be conversations. We'll be talking a lot about innovation and about how Web3 is really changing the projects that are out there and the role that you would have as a project in the project, meaning we do a lot in regards to women. So on our many of our Twitter spaces that we host, it's really about women and Web3 and about empowering them and giving them a voice. One of the things we really talk about is what you mentioned it earlier about the difference, the men and the women and even like equal rights. And we're really about one of my favorite quotes had to do with if there isn't a seat at the boardroom for you, bring a folding chair. And I love that. It's like make your space, right? If you see a need or that your skill set is going to be purposeful, go bring your folding table, bring your folding chair and make the room and make yourself known and valuable and just put yourself out there. So those will be conversations around, well, what does that look like? And how can you be a voice for your passion? And then when we talk about education, we're going to talk about, what a DAO is and how we come together to really support projects and the community and the innovation around all of it. There's really nothing off limits. That's what this is about. It's really about just connecting, communicating, serving.
Well, I love that, and thank you for sharing that with everyone. It's funny because as a publicist, I'll have people like have ideas and questions, and so see my eyes divert, and I'm trying to figure out how can I have a phone and not hold it like this so I can read it or see it, and I'm where the sun is shining in over me, so I can't even see my computer screen, which is funny, so I can't read messages through my laptop. And I had somebody asking me, they're like, well, they've been hesitant to come into something like the Twitter spaces because they don't know because they've never done it before, they don't understand what the space is like. And so let's give them a little bit of understanding what Twitter spaces is like. So first of all, you could be a total voyeur. I mean, you can,
yes.
Well, I guess you can't see anything.
That's a good word.
You can listen in. Although people do know you're there, but only by your handle. Like, so my name is my Twitter says Andrea Adams Miller. So, Andrea Adams Miller is there. But if nobody knows who crypto construction is, then it's just crypto construction. And,
exactly.
And they can look at your profile or whatever, or you can make multiple profiles. You can always make another, Gmail if you are that interested in being that secretive about listening. But there's no reason to be secretive. People listen in just because we're talking about crypto. It's not like we're talking about anything dangerous or, demonic or anything by any means.
Hopefully not.
Yeah. And so you're just listening about, what are people doing and what are they into? And you don't ever have to share anything. And if you want to share, there is an opportunity for you to do that by saying that you'd say that you'd like to speak by pushing a certain button, and then you get pulled up and then you have some space. So
I call it kind of like, network marketing in today's world. It's the best place to randomly connect with complete strangers globally. So not only you might have, your community within, but then what happens is Twitter will put out there, based on maybe how many people attend or based on your hashtags or based on the relationships of those that are speaking or that shared this event, and then people you've never met before will come in, and it's an amazing way to really connect and network and collaborate. And the whole goal is to expand. It's kind of like LinkedIn, but yet you're getting to have a conversation. It's not just all based on kind of the back end connections, if that makes sense. This is going to be where truly your energy, your personality, your ideas, your voice is going to really elevate any relationships and create new connections. And then you can do all the follow-up through your DMs and really connect even further offline and then go into their spaces and participate in their chats. And we have that happen all the time. Once you've clicked with somebody, if you've gotten that, oh, I like, know, and trust you feeling, you've given it and you felt it, you're going to be invited to a lot of other opportunities. And I believe that Twitter space is definitely an entrepreneurial space, and it opens up just so many opportunities.
Absolutely. So please, again, join us. Will you say the handle again so people know how
Yes,
to come in?
starting at 9 p.m. tonight Eastern, and it's going to be at crypto_swarm.
Crypto_swarm on Twitter.
Yes.
And then you can also join on your laptop for those of you who aren't comfortable using your phone. However, on your laptop, you're not able to speak. You can just listen. So, but it's another way to take in different information and be able to hear what's going on in the world. All
Absolutely.
right. We had said that we were going to talk a little bit more about the DAO tonight and what's going on with it and where we're at and what's going on. So I'm trying to think where we left off because I don't even think we got to
We
paragraph
actually
3.
did cover a lot, and I was surprised when I went back through it. We did cover a lot of this, but I think maybe we just do a little brief cliff note overview, and where they can find this information, which is at socialbees.io. And you can pull up this entire, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages when you print it without the graphics.
And how you find it is when you go to socialbees.io, in the upper left-hand corner are different tabs. And one of the tabs says Docs, short for documents. And that is where you can find the Social Bees University DAO. And that just kind of maps out. It's basically the guideline, the white paper. It says who we are, what we do, and how we show up in the world. And as we were going through it, we just wanted to be able to give you a little bit more of an understanding of how things work and how things are in the world. And I think probably the next part of mentioning, all of this is as an overview. So we'll be a fully on-chain DAO. Now, people don't often know what a DAO is, so then they don't understand what fully on-chain is. Do you want to have that conversation with me so we can share and explain what that means?
Yeah. Well, you brought up 2 words earlier today that somewhat describe it, in that you mentioned independence and democracy. And it's a very uncharted territory. So when you imagine that, there isn't necessarily like a president, a CEO. It's not under a company type structure, yet in a way, there are aspects to that, because at the end of the day, you do need a leadership team to actually formulate, organize, and strategize everybody's ideas and energy to create action that's, fruitful, right? You can't just have everybody off doing, whatever. There needs to be some sort of an organization and a structure. And that's where the TCR comes into place, which I like to kind of describe it as like a board of directors. It's people that have been put in place based on the productivity or the maybe amount of time they have, or their skill set, or the things that they've been involved in over the last few months or few years. And this team has been put together, and they are kind of the voice of our community, and here to actually create the implementation, right, of the ideas, to keep the ship moving, to keep it afloat. And then, and then within that, it's, a DAO almost within, under that umbrella of, we're all at that equal level. Everybody has a voice, and that's where community and collaboration, and it's so important to be able to communicate, because you need to, one, we don't want to duplicate our efforts, right? We want to be strategic, and we want to use everybody's skill set to the max, so that we're really working mindfully and purposefully, and with time management, as well. So, and then it being on chain is where the accountability comes into play. So even within our TCR, there will be, weekly reports, and there are assignments that we're given, and you have to make sure you do those to a minimum. We're asked to do that, times whatever, but yet we have to have something where you can say, hey, I'm doing all my tasks. Because you can be, voted out. You can be, the DAO can say, hey, you're not showing up the way you said you would. And we can see that based on this checklist of things that you said you were going to do, but you're not. And so that's a really beautiful thing, because then it turns into where it's not going to be this friendship based. It's really an accountability. And then any kind of a transaction, or anything that's done via a vote system is on chain. Like, you're going to be able to track it. You're going to be able to see the decisions that were made. You're going to be able to see the voting that was done within the organization. And you need to have a percentage. So many show up, and so many of them actually vote. and and that majority is what what the decision goes to. And so there's some beautiful things, but not without challenges.
Shit happens. So, we're going to say that challenges are going to occur. People are going to have communication. Those things happen. But I fully trust that we'll be able to work it out. There's enough people that are involved that it helps soften the blow either way of how people communicate, how they have an opinion, what we form, the ideas that we have, and we. From what I've experienced so far is even when people have a disagreement about something, I wouldn't even say it's an argument per se, but there's enough people on both sides saying, let's get along, let's figure this out. Oh, how should we do this? What's a better way? And so it allows people to be who they are and show up the way they are and be accepted for that.
And being authentic. And, at the end of the day, we're here because of a reason. Like, we all align with purpose over profits, right? So if you align with that and you stay that to a core, and that the efforts and energy and the synergy around the people that are involved, that the end goal is that, then, you have to trust, like you said, you kind of have to trust the process. And of course, things are going to not always go maybe the way you want, but yet at the end of the day, is there, if it's not the way you want, then get more involved, right? Like, show up and say, what can I do to help? I see it as a different way that we can do this, and be a voice and speak up. That's really, really important, because those opportunities are there.
Yeah, they're there. And so let's share a little bit about, so again, the fully. So I kind of giggled with that. I'm like, I kind of don't know of a half DAO. I only know full DAO. I think that's, to me, that would be full commitment, that, we have actions, that we have people in place, that we have projects, that we have accountability. Is there anything else missing that you can think of that makes that a full project?
Oh my goodness. Well, what are the end results? For us, we've got an NFT. It's an asset-backed NFT. So I would say that's a big part of, what we're doing. And, the end goal is two things, I would say maybe it's five things. One would be, 10% of our funding is going to put cell phones in the hands of developing countries, because we know that if we can even the playing field in areas that maybe don't have access, or the financial means and resources aren't there, if we can give them a phone, we know that we can teach them a way to create an income, and an additional income that actually is equal, globally, right? So that's a big part of what we do. And so between that, and then obviously being an asset backed, we can have purpose over profits all day long, but that doesn't always pay your own bills. So, we're here to invest as well, right? We're here to see reciprocal of our, we want to be good stewards, but we also want to see some financial fruitfulness as well. I would say that's a part of it. We want to create a community that you can really lean in and lean on. One of the things we had talked about recently was how much money it would take for payroll, for all the skill sets of the people that are involved, if you worked and we were under an umbrella of a corporation, because that's the skill set. And when you can actually connect with people globally, and everybody be able to put their education into it, and their skill set into it, like, it's amazing the things that can happen. And so the community aspect, I think, is a really big thing. We're developing relationships globally. And then the education, I believe that we have a responsibility and an awesome honor to educate people in the Web3 space, and to be a resource, a trusted resource that they can lean into, and to ask questions on NFTs, on crypto, on the blockchain, on DAOs, on all of these things. And so we've got a lot on our plates, but I think it's an amazing and an incredible honor and responsibility. And for somebody like me that is very ADD and creative, and I like having all these aspects because it suits my energy and aligns with all the areas about being in service. But then it also, you're getting, at the end of the day, whether it's now, 5 years now, 10 years, we're not here, as you mentioned, to give financial advice, but the opportunity to receive some financial fruitfulness for the investment that we made. That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. So considering that, that is a part of it. And so, while we're doing all these humanitarian efforts, we do want people to have financial literacy. So that is very much a strong part of that as well. So let's kind of break down some ways that people, how that works. Like, what can you do? What can you own? How do you be a bee, and then how does that work where there's something that's going to come back over time and space? And again, this is all how you choose to handle it. Some people love day trading, some people are in it for a long game. We've actually created a long game. I'm sure there's shorter games within it that you might be able to find and play on your own. The part I know is the long game one. So let me be transparent in that because that's how I think. So that's how I have looked at this. Although it certainly could be a short play. So, well, I guess I could already think of one. So right now, anybody can be in the bee community by joining us on Discord, but to have a voting and to be a voting member, you have to own a bee. What else would you like to add to that, Melanie?
Well, there's opportunities to own our new token, our honey token that just came out. What's today? Monday? It's not even been a week. So 4 days ago,
Yeah.
a brand new token came out. And so that's another way to kind of participate in our community. But like you said, if you want to vote, then you need to actually own a bee. And we had a ton get purchased, kind of sold and, rebought just over the last few days when we started talking about the token, because we also, within our DAO, there is a percentage of tokens that are allotted to each bee. And these are all the things that you'll really get to hear about in our Twitter spaces. So I really encourage everybody, when you think about, I'm very action oriented. So if somebody's new listening to this program, these are the things I would do. I would immediately head over to our socialbees.io website, take a look at this white paper, kind of our documents that we have, and then tune into the Twitter spaces, really listen and ask questions, be vocal and participate. And then when you've kind of had enough of that or you need something different, then tune into our BZCDAO TV, which has almost 700 hours of content and education on all the things we've talked about. And one of my favorite shows is Judge and Jury. And let me explain why. Because if you are new to this NFT space, what a beautiful job that Tim Judge does in regards to breaking down certain NFT projects. He usually hits a minimum of 5 each night. And that's at 11 p.m. Eastern on this channel. And he'll break them down, but he goes through and talks about their Twitter account and the followers and is there engagement, and then what does the Discord community look like, and are the owners and the artists doxed, what does their website look like, what's the mint price look like. And again, while it's not financial advice, it's a great way to learn about upcoming projects and to get really a diverse overview of NFTs that are out there and what their purpose is, like what do they stand behind, and to see all that artwork. So those are some areas I'd really encourage. And then obviously go in and watch all of the Women in Crypto channels, shows that you guys have on Monday nights, because again, you've brought on one of my favorite shows that you did was recently with the lawyer, really talking about DAOs and how important it is on the legal side to get involved and make sure that you really, dotted your I's, crossed your T's. So I would absolutely have everybody go back to that, which was like 3 weeks ago, I believe, and watch
and
that.
in full transparency, she's not an attorney. However, she has hired an attorney and worked with one all along the way. So she speaks well in her
She had amazing
language.
advice.
Yeah, she's become a really good friend over the years, so we have a lot of fun together. And she's really silly fun. So even though she's super serious and knows this stuff, she's super giddy pretty fun and playful too. So you can really allow yourself to manifest and show up the way you want to in this world.
Yes.
So it's talk about taking major fun and play and major corporate and bundling it all up together to be abundant and make money. So super.
Absolutely. And I believe, we're a community that we want the questions. Like, don't be shy. If you want to really dive into this space, whether it's as an investor or a developer or an artist, or, just to collaborate and use your skill sets or whatever it may be, or to create and be part of a passion project, truly, I believe our community is that all-in-one. We have everything for everybody.
Very much. And then let's share. So a short game, when we talked about short versus long. So a short game is because people wanted to be a bee. And at the time we hadn't had new bees released. We had released, gosh, has it been almost 6 months now? I think it's at least 5 since we released over 10,000 bee NFTs.
Sold
And
out.
yeah, that we were sold out in less than 20 hours. And then there were some put up for resale that lingered around. And it was funny because they lingered around and some people buy one here, get one there, and the prices were low. And then as we started saying we're getting ready to be a DAO, all of a sudden they went up in price, and people are like, oh, I'll release some of mine. And then they went up, and then this last week they've been a nice penny. So there's been some return investment for
and only like anywhere between, I'm going to just say about 35 to 45 total bees that were even listed for sale these last few days. So I haven't looked at it in the last day or two, but it's unbelievable that when people started hearing about the utility and the tokens, and that when you purchase a bee, you're getting 2 things. You're also getting an empowerment bee. So it's kind of a 2-for-1. We can talk more about that later. But then you're also going to get these honey tokens that also come along with your bee. We didn't even talk about upcoming is we're going to have an auction. So we have several hundred more bees that are going to be auctioned out. I think it's going to be 5 a day for a year. And some of those are going to be queen bees. And again, we've not even gotten into that yet, the utility behind queen bees. So there's so many incredible opportunities, short-term and long-term.
So it's funny because there's a couple queens for sale, and those queens, they probably got them for less than $100, maybe even less than, maybe even low. I mean, because when these things came out and people were buying a whole bunch of them, they didn't even know what they were getting. By the way, we didn't know what we were getting when we bought them.
No, I love that. That was fun. We had the reveal like a few days later.
And then one of our main guys who's like really helped pull all this together and he never got a queen.
Yeah. I don't have a queen either.
I don't have a queen either yet. I have been wanting one, being one of the first 48 and one of the first women here. I was really wanted a queen, and it was not meant to be at the time, but there will be bees in the auction that'll be coming out. And right now somebody's got to be up for 30,000.
It's amazing.
Amazing.
I love
it. Good for them. And I hope they get it. Because honestly, over time, that 30,000 is probably going to be well worth it. Because
sure.
Oh yeah. Because as you own a queen and as we do different projects, there is a percentage of the projects that comes back to the DAO, and the queens get paid first. And so it was random that they got that. And for people to say, oh, well, that maybe it wasn't random. No, come on. Random. Some of us that were the first 48 didn't get one.
Yeah.
So including the main guy.
Including the main guy, exactly.
Yeah. When the main guy didn't get one, he didn't get a base. So boy, talk about random hystericalness. Yeah. So that's how it is. So the auctions will be that every week different bees will go up
every day.
Available. Excuse me. Yes, multiple every day going up. So during every week is a new week, with every day is a new day.
Yes.
With these other,
and that'll be fun with our Twitter Spaces to really see the engagement around that, and getting people to kind of really get excited about placing a bid. And then if they win the bee, right, if they win that bid and being able to come on and we want to just cheer everybody on, the energy and the excitement around it.
Very much.
Yeah.
It's very exciting, super fun. And wow, look how fast the time goes. It's 6:35 already. And again, we haven't even talked about anything. All right. So I'm like,
We
we have
talked
talked
about a
about a
lot.
lot,
We
but I mean,
talked
but
about a lot.
I haven't slid the screen down one bit
Right.
is
You
what I
have your
meant. Like,
agenda and your
oh
action
yeah. And
list, and
we
yet
literally get to one sentence and I'm like, okay, we haven't
there's
even
so
got there
much.
yet. There's so much. Let's talk about all bees being asset based,
Yes.
backed, asset
Yep.
backed.
Hmm.
So what that means then is when something is asset backed, that means that there's something there to hold it up that has structure and a foundation for it. Um, how I've worded it to other people is like, okay, yes, things can go up and down, but when things go down, like when you're asset based, chances are your down is only going to come to hear about, we can't promise and say it'll
No.
never go below what you paid for it, but it's less likely for those things to happen
Hmm.
when things are asset based.
There's more of an
So,
incentive for the community to rally around and to unite to make that asset backed, project all that it can be. Like there's a real drive when there is a financial aspect behind it, and whether that drive for you is personally or for the service of the projects that we want to donate to it, either way, it's a beautiful thing.
mhm. And then let's mention a little bit about honey pots. So, what's
Yes.
a honey pot?
Right. What is
I
a
finally
honey
got
pot?
my honey pots. I finally have my honey pots in place.
So you had mentioned about the queens and how to own a queen, easily, again, not financial advice, but you have more of an opportunity to generate a revenue with that queen, and that's because of the tax that's involved. So when we sell, like our honey tokens, right? When we go to sell anything, there's a percentage that goes to the queen. Well, we can protect a portion of that by purchasing a honey pot, and you can have up to 20 that will offset about 50% of that tax, I believe. And so for each honey pot, it's 5% saving. So you buy one honey pot and it will stay there, protect all the bees that you have in the same wallet under that one honey pot. So obviously the more honey pots you have, the more protection, the less you have to pay out to the queens.
Very much so. So that's what it is. A honey pot is just a little bit of protection, and it's also a way into the liquidity pools.
Yes.
So, and those will be mentioned more later because those are all being developed and more as we're getting all these different plays in gear. Kind of think about it, as when with a new DAO and the way it's coming, I think of it as a new game or a new sport. All of a sudden, you think of new ways to play the game, how to play it faster, how to play it better, how to make a score, how
Yeah.
to make a win, how to bring community together, how to rally up the fans and the followers. And that's how I see the DAO is developing as we have these different aspects of the game. And we'll start to figure out different ways that we can utilize them and play with them within our own play field to make it even more fun and be beneficial for multiple people.
Yeah. It's so exciting. It's so
Yeah.
exciting. Yeah.
It's very, very fun. And you can hear in our voice if you go back over time and watch these, is that we continue to have excitement that just grows and grows. And then there's always like, intrigue, like what's this? I don't really know. This is interesting. I don't really get it. And then, oh, I get that. And then there's confidence. Okay, I
Mhm.
understand this. I'm talking about that. And then you'll see another show and I'm like, I'm not really sure about this.
The
We're going to talk about it.
education continues, that even as, the speaker of the programs, we're still learning. We're still educating. We're still, because Web3 space is like the, final frontier, like it's endless, like limitless. Like, what do we want it to be? And because it's still being developed and created in this moment. So we don't even know the things we don't know yet.
To be or not to be, we don't
Right?
know. Yes.
So exciting.
I will say that right now, one B, one vote is how that's kind of laid out, and when you And when we vote, there might be fees and gases with that. We've already talked about that showing up and being there. I just don't know all the rules of that engagement yet. We do talk about percentages within the DAO and how that works. To me, that's more of a mathematical thing where I would need to bring somebody in who specifically talks about percentages and how that works. And because we're new to this and we actually haven't been seeing it in process yet, I think as we're actually playing this part of it, it will be able to describe it to you better. Does that sound reasonable and fair?
Good stuff coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
Good and stuff that's here already and good stuff coming.
Yeah, a little bit of both. And then when we keep mentioning proposals, we're not talking about wedding proposals, although you probably could come up with something for that
you
too.
Probably could.
You probably could. And that's with letting the DAO know that you have a project that you're interested in that you think would be something that they would want to get behind or support or collaborate with or uplift or to publicize, maybe all of the above. And so hold on, somebody just called me and blocked my phone. Sorry there. I'm getting interrupted by somebody on Skype. So what that does then is it gives us an opportunity then to find out what other people have for innovative ideas and just what they want to do. And it doesn't have to be innovated new. It could be an old idea brought to new life.
Exactly. Because now the connections, the networking, the skill sets, the people are going to be able to really globally connect to make your vision to fruition. Where maybe before in a Web 1, Web 2 space, that wasn't possible. Those connections and that networking wasn't necessarily as possible or as fruitful.
Yeah. And then as you further look at the DAO, there's some different charts that talk about the allocation, like what goes to advisors, influencers, exchanges, venture capitalists, the initial liquidity. It kind of just talks about all of that you can look at and see for yourself what those percentages mean, how they're laid out, what goes to who, and gives a little bit more details about the things that we're talking about. And as a core, just as a reminder, we are based on the principles before profits. So we want to be good people that make good decisions for the good of people. Yes. Before we think about paying ourselves and others and making it focused on money, which, by the way, there's a whole nother part of that in Barry Manilow's Harmony, where at one point do the only thing you care about is the money, and that's not it. They care about the people and the people behind it. And although the money is important, they make decisions based on people before money.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is quite exciting and quite fun. So we are rounding up at the end of our time. Again, we realized that we did not cover everything, and yet we kind of did. So
exactly. It's all about the energy and just getting people excited to just kind of be part of our community. At the end of the day, some of this stuff is, depending on your personality, you can dive in and really study it and learn it and ask questions on, the back end of it and how that works. Or are you the type of person that just really wants to be loved on and be part of a community and feel that you have a voice? So whichever way and however you resonate and show up authentically, well, again, we're that place for you.
Yeah.
We are your people.
we the people. Yes, it's quite a lovely thing that has been developed here and has been created, and we're so excited that all of you are here with us and learning more, and would love to hopefully play along. And again, we're not we're not like recruiting, knocking on the door, trying to persuade you heavy-handed. We're saying we're here. Here is our information. If you would like to play or be along, we welcome you. We embrace you. So we're not being heavy-handed and trying to do recruitment or anything. That's been day one.
We don't need to. That's what's so beautiful. We don't need to. We just show up, we be ourselves, and we people gravitate toward us.
Yeah, it's been quite lovely,
Yeah.
and I'm very excited to be a part of it. And it's been a lovely. It's over 2 years now, so I'm excited about it. And because I keep referring to Harmony, that's Barry Manilow and Bruce Sussman. When I kept saying his partner that does all the wrote the lyrics in the book, that's Bruce Sussman. I should give him some love and credit. And I'm excited because someday we're going to have our own movie, our own show, maybe
Right.
our own musical about all the honey and
Yeah.
and then I always sing, "What's the buzz? Tell me what's happening. What's the buzz?"
I love it. I love it.
Just to bring everything back to our bees and our bee logo and motto, and how much fun we have here. So again, thank you,
Oh,
Melanie
my
Anderson,
pleasure.
community manager with the bees. I'm Dr. Andrea Adams Miller. I'm just one of the, I guess I'd be called a founding member. I
Mhm.
guess we can call me that.
Yeah.
And until we come up with another term, that's what we'll say. And we want to again thank Rick Scherer, who's our technical director
Mhm.
here, executive producer, Ellen Harris, my co-host, and again, the BZCDAO TV and bees.social for sponsoring, along with the Red Carpet Connection and business-accelerated.com. And we look forward to meeting you back next week on Monday. And I'll be calling in live from, where will I be? I will be in Miami that day, and we'll be letting you know what's going on. I'll be meeting some crypto people down in Miami, and be sharing what we've got going on there, and let you know who that guest is here later on this week. So love to you all. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.